Welcome to Marcor Studios, where here we will be interviewing different industry professionals and educating our homeowners as well as the industry as a whole. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to Marcor Studios. I am here today with Scott Agulnick from Agulnick Kremin PC. Thank you for being here.
Good morning. Is it still the morning? It's still
I don't
the
know.
morning.
Is it?
I don't know. My watch is wrong.
So, so we go way back. What is it? 15 years now that you know me?
So I'm 35
Yeah.
now.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's got to be about 15 years. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
When we met in Consumer Affairs Court in New York City.
You were the expert.
Yes, and you were the attorney.
Mm-hmm.
And we sat there and we recorded all day and never recorded.
The JHO said shit at the end of 8 days of pretty intense direct and cross-examination, if I can recall. And we said, what's wrong? And the JHO said it didn't record.
Oops.
So we had to go back and do it all over again.
And at that point, we bonded and you got stuck with me. And now you're just introduced me as the little sister you never wanted.
You were 20-nothing years old.
I don't even think I was 20 when I met you.
You knew more about roofs than anybody had ever met at that point.
Well, thank you.
It was a little bit freakish. And then since then, you've just become,
a thorn in your side, or just an
animal. An animal. I know your boxing name was the Tornado, but I always refer to you as a tornado, because you just come and just blow everything around and make a real impact, and then you're gone.
I mean, as long as we help our homeowners, we're good, right? My job is to get you the right information so you could do your job.
That's what it's about. And in that regard, our friendship and our working together has all been revolving around helping the homeowner in one way or another.
100%. Yeah.
Right. Whether it's a liability question or whether there's an insurance coverage question, because how many roofs have you gone to and there's water damage, and say, well, what's going on with insurance? They're not paying for because of A, B, or C or X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that now you say, well, you got to speak to Scott.
And most of my stuff goes your way because. Why don't you explain what kind of law you do practice?
We are insurance coverage and insurance recovery attorneys.
So elaborate.
You have insurance companies, they issue a policy. If there's a claim, whether it's a liability claim or a first party claim, you give them the information and you sit back and you say, let's see what the insurance company says. And quite often they'll say something which basically results in there's no coverage. So at that point, a lot of homeowners or business owners, they say, they think that they're just out of luck.
Yeah.
All right. Is this PG or is this?
This is say
all
however
right,
you
fine.
want.
There's shit out of luck. A lot of them just think that they're screwed.
Yeah.
But most of what we do and most of the successes that we have are sometime after an insurance company has said no.
Yeah.
Never take an insurance company's word for it. They will come up with any type of stupid, moronic, asinine explanation or excuse or exclusion or, sorry, we don't pay for losses when your toilet seat up is on a Wednesday. And it's what we do, and we love it.
Yep.
And frankly, the goal is to beat them at their own game.
Yeah.
Because the homeowner really does have a fair amount of power if they know how to approach it and what the law is.
Yeah.
But if they sit back and do nothing, then it's like selling when the market's down. Yeah. You'll never make your money back.
Yep.
But if you're facing a denial or an insurance company just doing something that they're not supposed to do, again, whether liability or first party, then there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And quite often we could do something.
We're dealing with one right now. We've got in our own house. I mean, my kitchen's brand new, and unfortunately the pot filler decided to slip off the wall, and the way it fell while we were cooking dinner on a Sunday night, it hit the pot, turned the faucet on, flooded the brand new stove. In the stove, flames going, sparks going. So we had a floor register for our HVAC. And I said to the adjuster when he comes, I'm like, listen, water got into my HVAC. There's no chance it didn't. It was pouring in. It's poured all over my ceilings. He said, no, it came around it. So that's why it came in your ceilings. It took me, no exaggeration, I haven't had a stove for a month. Probably more than a month now.
Would you cook?
Well, no, I don't, but Anthony does.
Oh,
I'm not around to cook.
Okay, all right.
And he's a better cook anyway.
Just wanted to call you out a little bit.
See, I told you, you know us all so well. So Anthony was cooking. But by the time we noticed, I mean, Gary and I are sitting, hanging out, watching TV. The kids are in the basement. Anthony is doing whatever. Nobody knew that there was water all over the place, but it was going through the flow register. Today, they finally send out somebody, after me fighting for a month, to come out and run diagnostics on the HVAC, realizing that if I powered up my HVAC system, I was going to cook it.
So think about how many people don't have the wherewithal to battle with them for a month,
Yeah.
or how many people
for a month.
Just call it a bad day and have a drink and then go into their bank account and cover it. That's the problem. People have to know that there is an avenue there. There are attorneys that do it. You know, I like to think that, you know,
Not many
our firm is pretty darn good at it, but there are, you know, a handful of niche firms that do insurance coverage work.
Yeah.
And you don't know if there's going to be a recovery until you confer with one. My kids are going to college on money that insurance companies once, you know, they told the homeowner, no way in hell we're paying you.
Yeah.
And they do, whether it takes a month or 6 months. I've been in one homeowners litigation. It was a fire. I can't discuss too many details because ultimately it was settled under confidentiality. But it was a major fire. There were deficiencies. There was bad faith. There was a lot of shadiness, and ultimately they could have settled it 8 years before for maybe $175,000. And let's just say the ultimate settlement was closer to 7 figures.
Wow.
I think that's a result of, one, that's justice. And a lot of time had passed and we were allowed you know, additional damages. And two, they pissed me off.
Not a good thing.
They pissed me off.
I tell you often, you're not ever the person I want to be on the opposite side of the table from.
Listen, there are times where you can have a disagreement with an insurance company. There are. And sometimes they may be valid, all right?
Yeah.
But most of the time, they're not.
Yeah.
All right? There are a few insurance companies that I think really are the stereotypical cartoonish, like in The Incredibles, the old guy saying, how dare you pay that claim? There are insurance companies that are like that.
Yeah.
But I feel like we've targeted them because in one way or another, they've crossed our client, they've crossed me, and if they think that we're going to walk away, no.
I've seen those days.
Yeah. But sometimes. Can I give you an example?
I would love one. I just want to know one real quick thing. Are you wearing shoes today?
I am wearing shoes.
Oh, that's a first. Usually,
I came in for a podcast.
Yeah. Usually when I walk in your office, there's socks only. Usually very cool ones, but
no, actually, I have my nice socks on today.
Very impressed with this.
And they were off all morning. We actually had a job interview and they were up on the desk, but they were my interview socks, so it was appropriate.
But yes, give us an example.
But you're a boater,
yeah,
right? And you've had jet ski and wave runners and whatnot. Now we had a case where there was an unfortunate fatality with 2 young men. Each were driving wave runners and they collided and there was a fatality. And while the family, the deceased child is, it's impossible to recover from that. We represented the other family. But what was striking was that the insurance company, obviously there are going to be claims, all right? And do we think our client was at fault? No, I think it was an accident without even talking about the details. But the insurance company denied coverage, liability. So they're going to have a claim against them. The insurance company denied it. And they said, well, we don't cover this type of watercraft. I said, why not? Policy covers a watercraft with an inboard or outboard engine or motor over 50 horsepower that you don't own or rent. Now, this child didn't own it and he didn't rent it. It was basically they were at a family friend's
And he went
home
out on it.
and they went out on it. So you tell me how the heck a jet ski doesn't have an inboard or an outboard engine or motor more than 50 horsepower?
I would have to disagree. In the demographics of what do they determine as a engine? It's just a jet engine.
It's an engine with an impeller, right?
Not always an impeller, but it's an engine that's pushing the water through it with jet power. It's pushing you and giving you.
How is the jet?
There's a motor in it.
There's a motor.
Yeah.
Right. So they were saying, well, it's not an engine or motor; it's a jet drive. Okay.
That has a motor still in it.
Exactly. But
again, the play on words.
But we had to fight. We had to fight for it. All right, which is really it's somewhat pathetic.
Yeah.
But it actually raises a point that while there may be a disagreement or different interpretations in an insurance policy, you can never forget who writes the policy. All right. And you know what the rule is in New York with regard to ambiguities in an insurance policy?
The interpretation is up to the non-drafting party.
There we go. The rule of contra preferentum. So for us, coverage was clear, but it's just an example. And whether we're talking about a roof claim or any other type of claim, it is an example as to how you have to fight back.
Yep.
You cannot just take their word for it. 9 out of 10 times, they're wrong. All right? 1 out of 10, yeah. Sometimes
you have a homeowner that pushes the envelope and lets the water just run and pretends that it didn't happen and they caught it at 3 hours later.
Yeah, listen, there are instances of fraud. We don't deal with them. If you're gonna bullshit us, we're not interested in having you as a client. That's been our rule.
There's plenty of people out there that need actual help.
It's not about money. We want our adversaries to look at us and say, they don't take bullshit clients and they're not conspiring. We want if we think the policy states it should be covered, it should be covered. But regardless of the type of insurance, the companies are always going to look for a way out.
Well, so let's talk on the flip side of, we were talking now insurance coverage of when there's a loss on an existing property, let's say. You and I worked on one years ago where it was an in-progress construction project that there was an issue. And it was a Hurricane Sandy house. They were lifting the house fell, and somebody had gotten injured when they were dropping the house back down.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So talk to us about how you represent clients in that type of situation on, this was more of a labor law situation that they were, if I recall.
Yeah. Well, it was actually both. So there are a couple different components to it, but the reality is, whenever you have someone working on your house, hey, I'm going to hire them. They're going to do my siding. They're going to do my roof. All right. A neighbor the other day said, "Oh yeah, I'm going to have my roof done." I said, "Oh, who are you using?" "Oh, I got some guy." I said, "Well, did you check his insurance?" He said, "Oh, what do I have to check?" I'm like, shit, what don't you have to check?
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, how do you found them?" "Oh, they came in with the best price." I said, "Well, how good of a price is it?" They told me. I said, "The guy's he's probably not paying for the proper roofing insurance, first and foremost." Okay. So to tie it back to this house collapse, essentially someone was injured. All right. So when you're having work done at your home and there's work being done at an elevated height, the labor law comes into play.
Even if it's a hole.
It's a hole. Yeah, but it comes into play.
Yeah. So
that is the prime example of there's never a problem until there's a problem. So this worker got injured when the house collapsed, and who is he going to sue? He's going to sue the general contractor to the extent that he doesn't work for him, and he's going to sue.
There was not one on this project.
And he's going to sue the homeowner. Yeah. Okay, so you think, well, my contractor has insurance, maybe, and maybe not. Or maybe they have limitations. Maybe
they have
exclusions, action over coverage, which is a big problem. Yeah. Essentially, where you can't sue your own employer for personal injury, you will sue the homeowner essentially, and then the homeowner will try to bring in the general contractor or the employer, and they may or may not have coverage for that. It's action over.
Now, will their homeowners insurance ever kick in?
Their homeowners insurance could kick in, but it could.
But could not also.
It could.
There's also a chance that they can't.
It could, depending on the policy, depending on your application. There are times where, I'll give you an example. Question on an application of insurance. You're buying a house. Hey, Gina, you're going to buy your new mansion on the water. Okay.
One day.
Yeah, we'll do the closing. I'll charge you a lot for it. But you fill out an application. Most of the time, people don't even remember doing it. Oh, the broker will do it. You check out boxes. There may be a box right there. You planning any renovation or construction? Okay.
Nope.
And quite often, nope. So, you buy a house, you're like, hey, you know what? I think we're going to do the roof. Your wife yaps at you. All right, fine, we'll do the kitchen. All right. Or husband. I don't want to sound, presume anything. Okay.
Anthony's not paying for a new kitchen.
Well, not yet. But then something happens. What is an insurance company going to do? They'll look at the policy, and there may not be an exclusion for that. There may not be. But they'll go back to the application. They'll say, well, had we known you were going to be doing construction, we wouldn't have given you the policy.
Yeah.
And then they don't rely upon an exclusion. They essentially void your policy. It's called rescission. And that's a serious issue also.
Is it something you see often?
We see it very often.
That's unfortunate.
It is, and it's not something that just applies to homeowners. It applies to any contract in general, but it could apply to a contractor's insurance. So a contractor could say, yeah, I'm going to do this work on your home. I got a great policy. All right, here's my policy. Even if the policy had everything, all the bells and whistles, technically, if that contractor said, oh, well, you know what, I'm going to fudge this number. I'm going to fudge my revenue a little bit. I'll instead of 11 employees, I'm just put 9 because maybe the price is less for under 10 employees. Well, if they do that, years later, if something happened, the insurance company can look at that application and say, that was a false representation. Misrepresentations are grounds to rescind the policy, and they can void a policy.
Wow, I love learning new things.
Yeah. It's
like mind blown right now because that's crazy. People don't, like, how many people get roofing insurance and say that they don't do roofing, they're a landscaper. And so basically you're saying that not only does that guy not have coverage, but he doesn't have coverage to do a roof, but he doesn't have coverage at all. He has no insurance at that point.
It basically, when they rescind a policy, it's as if it never existed. I always use, when I explain the difference between a claim denial and a claim rescission, I use the example of a divorce versus annulment.
Okay.
Right? So divorce, all right, for the sake of discussion, my beloved wife decides she's going to run off with the landscaper. Okay? I'm heartbroken.
Yeah.
Okay? Bye, Stacy. I love you. I'm sorry it didn't work out. Okay, so she runs off with the landscaper. We get a divorce, all right, because she violated
your marital contract.
The marital contract. But that being said, annulment is, for example, you get married, and it's a more serious topic, but it does happen. Say, I'm marrying you, Gina. All right, are you mentally sound? Okay, and then we find out you're not mentally sound because you're a raging workaholic. You work 23 hours a day. You sleep 9 minutes a day. All right, and you eat for 4 minutes a day. All right, so we'll put that in. Oh, I would not have married had I gotten an accurate answer to that question. So I use that as an example, not to make light of it, but that is actually a ground to annul a marriage, right? If mental illness. But it's
disclose that to you.
Exactly. So when you get a marriage annulled, it happens. When you get a marriage annulled, it's treated as though it never happened, right? And there's a distinction there. The insurance company, they actually even send you your premiums back. They could send you 10 years of premiums, and say, sorry, we're voiding the policy. Here are all your premiums. So the moral of the story: there are 64 different ways that you can get screwed by insurance companies. But if you misrepresent something on an application, it's on you.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone has to read their applications. Contractors need to read their applications. Homeowners need to read it. And everyone needs to know you can't lie on an application.
Yeah.
It will come back to haunt you. Nobody wants to have an insurance policy that's literally worth nothing.
And it's so scary that it happens so often.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and I would imagine that the good attorneys like yourself, that's the first thing. If you were on the opposite side of it, you're going to go right to that and say, all right, let me find a way to negate this all right from the beginning.
Well, there are some ways to do it. One, the misrepresentation has to be material. All right. So to talk about, contractors coverage, would they not have issued you the policy? All right. So if there's a question on the application says, well, are your work T-shirts orange or purple, right? And you put orange. They say, oh, we found out your work shirts are really purple. Well, they can't just rescind it because of that misrepresentation. It has to be material.
Correct.
Would they not have issued the policy?
It's,
So,
hey, I'm a handyman or I'm a construction management company, but I actually employ roofers and I don't have coverage for roofing.
that's material.
Correct.
That's absolutely material. And, I think that a lot of contractors, not the good ones, but contractors, they're able to keep their costs down by basically cutting those corners. But again, like I said, it's not a problem until it's a real problem. And then when it's a real problem, it's a real problem.
Yeah.
Right? So don't lie. Don't cheat.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you have for homeowners? Because I talk to contractors all the time that they don't even know what's in their policy. And that's the unfortunate thing. And we talk about this all the time. Insurance, but it's such a broken system. It's so hard to fix at this point. It's so far gone.
Well, you know what an insurance certificate is, right?
A piece of paper that you could wipe your butt.
Right. So we quite often, we call it an accord form. Oh, I'm hiring a contractor. Oh,
And that's what they're showing
Can you
the
show me a
homeowner.
proof of insurance? It's a piece of paper that the broker fills out, and it states that you have a policy. All right. It's not the insurance policy.
Yeah.
It's a broker stating that there is. That's basically like someone handing you a summary of a table of contents of War and Peace. All right. It doesn't really tell you much. It doesn't tell you at all what happens in the 4th chapter or the 5th chapter or anything. It's just that there's a policy.
Yeah.
That's usually what most people get. And you say, hey, did they give you proof of insurance? And they hand you an accord form. All right, well, all right, great. It's a policy and a policy number, but no two policies are alike. So what a homeowner should do is ask for the declarations and a copy of the policy if they really want to feel comfortable.
Yeah, the contractor can't even read the policy. They're not making to page 108 where the exclusion exists.
Right. So you need to have.
So can they call their broker?
They can call their broker and say, listen, and that's an excellent thing to do, because when you inquire with your broker, they have an obligation to give you correct answers.
Yeah.
But as a homeowner, you want to make sure that there's no contractual limitation or exclusion. There's action over coverage, which is what we discussed. If an employee gets hurt and you get sued, can you bring in the employer to indemnify you? And then there can't be labor law exclusions. There can't be exclusions for working at particular heights. There are height exclusions in policies. So
There's exclusions that you can't subcontract work at all.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's hard hammers.
There's hard hammers.
subhammers,
So basically, that piece of paper you get means nothing unless the subcontractor has their own insurance.
Yep.
So listen, is it possible to cover all bases without engaging an attorney to review everything? It's possible, right? But there are a lot of there are steps that a homeowner can take to protect themselves, and it starts with knowing what questions to ask and actually asking for the insurance, not just a summary, not just to take my word for it, we're licensed and insured, because that doesn't mean anything.
Yep.
So if you're undertaking a significant project, then it's worth pausing thinking about these things, speaking to your broker, speaking to your family
I wouldn't
attorney.
even say even significant, because somebody can go up and be fixing a gutter and you fall from a height and you have a height exclusion
Oh yeah.
and
Yeah.
somebody doesn't have the right insurance. You know, like if we circle back to the Babylon thing, I mean, that homeowner, he had to pay for those legal fees for you to represent him, did he not?
He did.
And
He did. And I'm sorry that I accepted them, but
it was a lot of work.
It was, and it was
So-
ultimately it was dismissed. There are certain defenses.
But it didn't stop him from paying potentially. I mean, that went on for a couple of years. I imagine it was tens of thousands of dollars in legal fees that he had to pay. Well, you're not a mean attorney, so
It was, it was a couple bucks.
yeah.
But
But
listen,
but as a homeowner, he still had to pay it. If he just did, if he did the due diligence, fortunately, he did not have to pay out the loss.
no, he didn't, and we
Because
were
he
able
wasn't
to we were able to
controlling
get, we were able to get that dismissed. But and it's not even just the money. It's not even the money that is the issue when you're forced to defend these. It's for years you could potentially have exposure. So for years, every night you're going to sleep thinking, "Am I going to just get smacked?" And if you haven't been in a lawsuit, you should know you don't want to be in a lawsuit. You don't want to be in a lawsuit with your family. You don't want to be in a lawsuit with your neighbors. You don't want to be in a lawsuit with anyone. Lawsuits are horrible. All right.
Yeah.
We do it because it's a last resort. If we don't do it, literally, there's nobody to fight for these people. But an ounce of prevention. All right. It's absolutely true. So any project, you pay more. Well, people ask me, well, what insurance company do you have for, oh, I only pay this or I'd only pay that. Don't shop price. Don't shop price with contractors. There's one, obviously, you can speak more to the difference in quality, but two, a cheap contractor has cheap overhead, which usually includes cheap insurance. All right. So when it comes to insurance, people say, oh, what are you paying? You know what my answer is? I don't even know. I don't look because it's necessary. I have the policy that I want. I have the policy that I need. I don't even look at the price. Yeah. And that's not to sound, pretentious or anything. I see it as a necessity. Yeah, it's an absolute necessity. So when people say, oh, I switched from this carrier to this carrier because their rates went up and this carrier is much lower, I could probably look at that policy and show you,
Swiss cheese.
It's Swiss cheese. But sometimes the coverage depends upon a couple of words. Yeah. Right?
I mean, we saw it when we did that home water main break. What was that, in Astoria? Or
yeah. So
house to house.
Regardless of source. So find a prime example. On some insurance policies, if there is a broken water main, all right?
We had that whole block.
Mm-hmm, the broken water main in the street. It's a discharge from a pipe.
Yep.
Some insurance policies will cover that when the water comes into your house, and some will not. And no broker will ever tell you that show you the distinction before that happens. All right. And brokers or agents probably even don't know the difference, but the difference could be hundreds of thousands of dollars based upon a few different words. And whenever anyone else looks at those policies, they're virtually identical.
Yep.
Words matter.
Yep.
They were. Yeah.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with us today, and thank you for educating everybody here. Your birthday's coming up. We just celebrated your.
Yeah, I'll be
30.
I'll be 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. In. Jeez.
Wasn't that from your surprise birthday?
That was.
I discovered it at in my office the other day. We've been having some fun with it in here.
I hope it's good, clean fun.
Never would.
Okay. By the way, I heard they always have like a sushi spread in these podcasts.
No, I thought you were taking me to lunch after this.
Oh, all right. Yeah, fair enough. No, honestly, always a good time with you.
Yeah, no. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And
My pleasure.
Thank you for all of the years of everything we've done together. This is like when you and I are in a room together on a case together, it's a lot of fun, but it's like we have this like nice dynamic, and we bring Todd into the mix, and he was just like the best thing you brought to the team.
Absolutely. You're an animal, and your knowledge of roofing systems is mind-boggling. You are the expert, but you will always be like the sister I never wanted.
I know, but you got me.
I got you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.